The battle had already been raging when we last left our heroes, steel flashing, spells crackling, and the air thick with the acrid scent of smoke and blood. Teyvin, quick on his feet, took the first move as the goblins surged forward with renewed ferocity. These were not the skittish skirmishers the party had faced before. Some bore the grotesque, elongated skulls the group had come to associate with Ruxathid's followers, their warped features lending them an eerie alien presence. The spike growth Aluin had conjured still clawed up from the stone floor, thorny vines curling like serpents, but even that was not enough to deter the more determined goblins. They pressed through the jagged undergrowth, tearing skin and armor to close the distance, and the ones the party suspected to be spellcasters drew weapons not of steel, but of shimmering, blinding light. These radiant blades cut deep, their every swing leaving searing wounds. The fighting grew desperate. From the far end of the thorns, one of the spellcasters finally broke free of Sariel's silent spell. Without hesitation, the goblin unleashed a surge of emerald power, a rolling wave of psychic energy that tore through the chamber, ripping into the minds of friend and foe alike. Sariel crumpled instantly, his concentration broken. Rowan fell moments later. Even the caster who summoned the magic staggered under the backlash. With silence gone, the dining hall's far side erupted in guttural goblin shouts, more enemies, hidden until now, calling to one another. The battle raged on. Aluin's firebolt found only smoke and nothingness, passing clean through a goblin that was nothing more than an illusion. One of the enemy spellcasters used unseen force to hurl a goblin across the room, bypassing the thorns entirely and dropping it right into melee range. Teyvin dashed to Sariel's side, restoring him with a healer's touch, and Sariel in turn called upon divine words to rouse Rowan. The fight became a brutal war of attrition. Each time one of the party fell, another would leap into danger to haul them back. Aluin herself collapsed under the onslaught, and with her went the spike growth, the thorny ground receding into bare stone. Still, they endured. At last, Rowan's blade, wreathed in divine smite, struck down the final caster. The hall fell silent, save for the ragged breathing of the victors. Exhausted, bloodied, and without true rest for nearly a day, the party limped away from the carnage. At the top of a spiral stair, near the vantage point where goblin sentries had once stood, they made camp. It was there that Sariel noticed it again, the faint beam of light from the shard in his pack, angling toward the floor of the dining hall below, as though pointing deeper into the mountain. Another shard? Teyvin and Rowan took first watch, but the rest they sought was short-lived. From beyond the wall separating them from the dining hall, Teyvin heard goblin voices. Many bodies lay unhidden below, perhaps too tempting a lure for those who remained. Then, just as suddenly, the voices stopped. No movement, no sound, only an ominous, deliberate quiet. Trusting their instincts, Teyvin roused the others. They slipped from the hideout under cover of night, traveling 15 minutes into the foothills before finding a low, scrub-covered hill to camp upon. Sariel and Aluin took the next watch. The night was still when Aluin's sharp ears caught movement in the brush, 50 feet ahead. She woke Sariel, who responded in his usual subtle fashion by hurling a fireball. The explosion lit the darkness in a violent blue, revealing a goblin, howling and aflame. 3 more shapes broke from the same thicket, charging the camp. The party roused to meet them. This skirmish was shorter, but the elongated-headed goblins hit hard with unnerving, bone-cracking punches. In the chaos, Teyvin felled one and, with a splash of cold water, brought him back to consciousness for questioning. Sariel took the lead, prying into the goblin's story. The captive admitted they had followed the party from the mountain hideout, intent on avenging their fallen kin, nearly the entire Sorplee clan. He claimed no reinforcements remained on their trail. It had only been his small band. Most of the hideout, he said, was empty now, save for Ruxathid, who still ruled from within. Ruxathid's rise to power, the goblin told them, came from the stone, a relic he claimed was a divine gift. Many goblins followed him with fanatical devotion. Others, like this prisoner, saw only ruin in his leadership. Lately, Ruxathid had grown distant, erratic, unstable. Sariel then made one of his more cryptic pronouncements. debating aloud whether to send the goblin to the apple farm or the canola field, a question that left the captive more baffled than afraid. A strange exchange about orchards and pumpkin patches followed before Sariel's patience ended. Flames answered his frustration. Morning came, and the party, worn thin, their bodies aching, finally allowed themselves a full day's rest. Watches were set, and the daylight hours passed without incident. By the time the last watch ended, the sun had dipped low again. Night had returned, and with it came the moment to decide. Would they turn back to face Ruxathid in his lair or follow the Shard's pull deeper into danger?